Now, today we're going to be diving into Pillar 3, change your mindset. Just so you know, the next about 15, 20 minutes are just a snippet of the material that is going to be presented in Dream Life University. So if you're wondering, well, what is today and what is Dream Life? Today is an example of what we're teaching. So we're going to dive in. This is change your mindset, and we're going to do an identity exercise. So I like to kick off this exercise by talking about Tony Robbins and listening to what he has to say. The strongest force in human personality is the need to stay consistent in how we define ourselves. It's heavy. So self-identity. What do you identify yourself as today? You know, what is that self-talk when you ask yourself, who am I? A lot of people do a lot of self-talk that is uplifting, and I think that's fantastic. I do daily aspirations that I have to say to myself every day, I am successful. I am a good father. I am a provider. So if I asked you, who are you? I would like for you to dig in and find one of those things where you're asking yourself, who am I? And your answer is something that you are not proud of, something that you do not like. I grew up fairly, I wouldn't say poor, but we didn't grow up with a lot of money. And growing up, I always convinced myself that I will never really have a lot of money. And when I would ask myself this question, who am I? I would say, I am not wealthy. I am not able to buy whatever I want to buy. I am not able to order on the right hand of the menu at Longhorn. I have to stay in the preset menu items. But I wanted to change that. And I know that's a small, silly example, but I needed to change that. So we'll start off with the rise exercise. So 1, you got to be aware of who you are. By being aware of who you are, you can start to harness in and figure out what is it about that you don't like. And that drives us to number 2. Figure out what you want and go deep inside. Find that deep desire. And we do this with a why exercise in our course. So one thing is why did I want to have financial and time freedom? Well, when I was a young boy, I remember getting off the school bus and running up the driveway. It was like a quarter mile long. And I would run in the house. I'd go in my room, reach under the bed, and grab my leather mitt that was wrapped up in a rubber band with oil on it, and my baseball glove. And I'd run out in the front yard with my baseball. And what would I have loved for my father to be out there with me to throw a ball with? Well, most of the time, I would spend an hour to 2 hours throwing that baseball up in the air, hoping to see my dad's headlights coming down the driveway. And it wasn't often that he made it home before dark. And when he did, well, he was a diesel mechanic. He worked really hard all the time. And it wasn't that many sunny afternoons that I got to throw ball with my dad. And as I got older, I realized I don't want that. I don't want to be that father that is not able to throw ball with my son because I'm working so hard to produce that income. I don't want to miss those moments. I want to be able to produce more memories than I had. So now that we've done, that's just one exercise of figuring out what you really want and going deep inside. There's a plethora of things that you could dive into and do that why exercise. You know, why did I want the financial freedom? So that I could have more time. And why did I need more time? Not just because I wanted to spend it doing whatever I wanted to do. I was very intentional about what I wanted to do with that time. And then I had to say, why do I want more time with my family? Well, because of this thing that happened to me. Okay, why is that important? Well, because I don't have certain memories that I wish I had, and I want my son and sons and maybe daughters to be able to have those memories. All right, so now that we've identified it, we have to gain momentum. And how do you gain momentum? Well, the momentum is you making decisions moving forward on investing that lead toward that financial and time freedom. So you're making decisions using that as your fuel. That's the fuel in your fuel tank. Once you have identified that, and you're making decisions and moving in that direction, it's time to share. It's time to share that with someone in your life, whether that be your spouse, your partner, or friends at work. Um, Share it with people because it's important. You'll find that a lot of people are going to support you and that are going to help you along the way. So we've gotten to the root of the problem and we've exposed the origin. And now it's time to really get in and challenge the truth. So I asked you earlier, what do you identify as? And to dig deep and find something that was not so, not so great. That thing that you were telling yourself of maybe it's, I am not, you know, in shape, or I am not a healthy eater, or I am not this or that. What you need to right now is cut off that lie because you have a choice to actually be the opposite of what you're telling yourself. So it's very important that you get these affirmations and you start telling yourself what you want to become because what you tell yourself you want to become, you very well can and will become it. I often told my students when I was a teacher, whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. And it's the truth of it. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I am a neurosurgeon, and you've never been in neurosurgery, or I am an astronaut, I am an astronaut. Those are things that you could absolutely aspire to get there, but whether you achieve that, I'm not sure if you'll get there. But it's really good to have those big dreams like that. But going back to that story, let's say that you're telling yourself, I am not healthy, I'm not in shape. We're going to cut that lie off. And we're going to start saying every day to ourselves, I am healthy, I am in shape, I eat healthy, I go on walks, I exercise. So, what are you doing with that? You're rewriting the story from who you were to who you are going to become. In these daily actions of reading that affirmation to yourself of I am this new person, every single day you're going to build what you do off of the success pyramid. And at the base of that success pyramid is your subconscious. And this is the foundation on which all of your decisions have to be made. If someone says, hey, do you want to go out for some drinks, but you don't identify as a drinker, you're not going to be at the bar having drinks. Do you think if you're a non-smoker, let's say you don't smoke, do you think you're going to wake up on Saturday morning and drive to the gas station to buy a pack of cigarettes? If you're a non-smoker, you're probably not. Or even if you're not a marathon runner, you're not a marathon runner. You're not going to wake up on Saturday morning and go on a 6-mile run. Right. So the subconscious, the base, is the foundation on which all your decisions have to be made. This is where you're telling yourself the future you. Now, in the middle of the success pyramid is what your daily actions look like. Are you making those daily choices, making those daily actions that align with the person you're trying to become? And at the top is your success, that you did it, that you lived your life like you were aspiring to be. You got to think, you'll never experience that success at the top unless you build it on the foundation of what you are trying to become. You can't have a bunch of success on top of a building that doesn't have a foundation. So this is where we talk about the identity shift. So I call this the success machine. And I'd see the 3 gears here. And that first gear is you identifying how you're operating today. This is who you are today as is with no changes. So what do you really believe about yourself, and what made you who you are today, and what brings you joy? Now, in that number 3 bullet there, what brings you joy, we have an exercise called the top 10 exercise that helps you to identify the things that bring you joy. Because a lot of people are, they may have 1 or 2 things. They're like, yeah, I like this, I like that. But we like to really dive in deeper to get you to understand what really brings you the most joy. So as that gear is turning, that gear is just always turning, we have to activate this second gear. And this is plugging in that identity of what you need to change. These are what your greatest desires and goals are. What legacy are you trying to leave behind? What kind of person are you trying to be? Once that gear is engaged, now we can implement that third gear. And that third gear is the living your life as the new you. You notice it starts with those small changes back on gear one, by identifying, by becoming aware. Your mindset is an evolving process, y'all. It's not something that you could just go to sleep and then wake up the next morning and you think differently and you behave differently. It's very slow. You're going to see the results, but they're going to be over time. So now I ask you, in 5 years, I am blank. How do you want people to view you in the future? When I first started all of this dreaming, this dream life stuff, before it was dream life, it was just part of my daily action. When I first started, I said, in 5 years, I am a landlord. It was very broad. In 5 years, I am a father. In 5 years, I am financially free. But it took a lot of breaking down to figure out. I needed to say, in 5 years, I am a landlord with 15 houses that provides enough cash flow to make myself and my family financially free so I can spend more time with my family, so I can spend as much time as I want to with my family. So I ask you, think to yourself, what do you want to be in 5 years? In 5 years, I am, maybe you're a business owner. Maybe you are teacher of the year. Maybe you are, working because you want to, not because you have to. Pillar 4 has a vast array of things that we could teach you to help you design your lifestyle that leads you to that dream life. But tonight, we are talking all about sacrifice. Design your lifestyle with sacrifice in mind. I love this Thomas Jefferson quote. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. All right. So keep that in mind as we go through this, because I'm going to hopefully expand your mind and expand your thinking. So ask yourself, what luxuries fill your life today? What can you truly do without? What can you gain by letting go for a brief period of time? Just, reflect on that real quick. What luxuries are filling your life that you could do without and you could let go? What do you need versus what do you want? There's a big difference between what you need and what you want. So what I'm not telling you today is I'm not telling you to give up things that bring you safety and security. Those are paramount. You must have those. And I'm not telling you to give up things that align with your top 10. Now, if you don't know what the top 10 is, that is another structure of our curriculum that is back in Discover Your Why. If you're interested in discovering your top 10, put it in the comments and I'll lead you to an exercise. I'm not telling you to sell everything or to make rash decisions. But what am I telling you? I am telling you to challenge yourself to ask, do I really need this? I'm going to ask you to think differently. I'm going to ask you to embrace the future challenges and accept that it will be hard. And that's okay. You're going to come out on the other side. So, what's the bottom line? The things you sacrifice have to be worth the life changes they will bring. Why go and sacrifice comfort if it's not going to lead you to a place where you desire to be? Does it get you closer to your dream life? So, what would it look like? So, what would it look like? What do people spend? And we're going to be talking about Bob tonight. Bob's a good friend of mine, right? He's a character in PowerPoint, and he's going to be joining us on tonight's call. So Bob spends on average, like every American out there, they spend $273 a month on subscription services. Y'all, that's a rental property. I'm sorry, but that's the way I think about it. They spend $241 a month on entertainment. That's going to the movies. That's going skating if you go skating. That's going to the Braves games. I love doing that, but let me tell you, in my sacrifice days, I didn't do a thing. I worked toward the dream life. And most people spend, like Bob, on average $500 a month on a car payment. Now, you need that car. You need a car, but do you need that car that has a note on it? That's up for you to decide. That's $1,014 a month. Like I said, we're going to meet Bob. Bob's frustrated. He's spending so much money on things that are bringing him comfort instead of things that are bringing him closer to his dream life. So what could Bob do with that $1,000 if he gave up, if he sacrificed it? If he put that $1,000 a month instead of spending it, here's what the magic of compound interest can do with a net 4% return. That is a conservative 8% in the market minus inflation at 4%. Now, I know we're in a weird spot with inflation right now, and that could be more like inflation at 30%. Depends on which government official you ask, right? So here's what it could do. In the blue line, you see if you just put this money in your bank account, you're only going to grow to about $380,000. But if you put it into the stock market, at year 10, you'd have 149,000. Year 20, almost 400,000. Year 30, almost 700,000. So just putting your money to work can help you gain wealth that one day could support your lifestyle. But this is accounting that Bob is working. You know, Bob is working and he's contributing to a retirement plan. But what if Bob invested in real estate, that $1,000 a month? We've got Bob thinking, don't we? So he would have money to spend on educating in courses, seminars, and tools. He could change his mindset on money, because I tell you, if he's holding on to that $1,000 a month, his opinion on money is absolutely changing. He's not going to willy-nilly spend it on this $8 subscription to Spotify or this $15 to Netflix. He's holding on to it, and he's waiting to deploy it in the right thing. And his mindset on time is changing. He's now spending all of his time in courses, seminars, webinars, reading books, watching, listening to podcasts, watching webinars. He's doing all of that with his time and saving that $1,000 a month. So his mindset on time has shifted. So if Bob invests in real estate, he's going to discover the hidden treasures that lie within. So let's say Bob has made a decision. He's saving that $1,000 a month, and he goes and buys this $200,000 house with $40,000 down. That's 20%, right? Now, you may be saying to yourself, but I don't have $40,000 to put down, and I don't see how I'm going to make $40,000 by saving $1,000 a month. Well, let me tell you, this is just the conventional way to do it. There are ways to buy houses that we will walk you through the different strategies that you can buy a house with $0 down, right? Especially if you do a house hack and you FHA it, right? I know, Nino, you've been talking about doing something like that, and hopefully you can make that happen in the next 3 to 4 months. I'd like to see that, right? But let's talk about Bob. Bob has been putting back some money. He's got $40,000. He's going to put it down on a $200,000 house. What's going to happen? Well, the cash flow, he's going to get 12% cash on cash return, $4,800 a year, because he bought the house smart and he's got good rent coming in. He's going to capture some depreciation. And so just a brief thing about depreciation. You're only going to get 25% land value, so only 75% of the house is considered for that depreciation. So $150,000 depreciated over 27 and a half years. That is a tax savings of $5,455 at a 22% tax bracket. The realized money back in his pocket is $1,200 a year. So he gets to capture that depreciation for 27 and a half years. And don't forget about the loan pay down. Your tenants are paying down your mortgage over time. So Bob made this decision to do this by getting into that sacrifice mindset. He's saving his time, he's saving his money, and he's investing in himself, and he's investing in real estate. So what's that house worth in 30 years? Well, if we go at a 5% appreciation, that house is now worth $890,000. And don't forget that rent growth that is happening over time and all along the way. So he's not just saving $1,000 a month, he's also making money on top of that. So let's think about this. If he invested his money, his monthly cash flow, right? That's $500 a month from the tax savings and the $4,800 a year. That's $500 a month, plus that savings of sacrifice. So he had that $1,000 for 30 years at 4% in the market. So this is saying he bought one house, and he's taking all of his income from that one rental property and the savings of sacrifice and investing it for 30 years. So he would instead have over $1 million versus that 703 if he just bought that one property, right? So that is just investing that $1,000 a month and that $500 a month in cash flow, not to mention all that appreciation on that property. So what's the return of that? Well, this is something called the HB10BII. This is a financial calculator, right? And we're going to do a little crash course within Dream Life University on how to use one of these things. And what you're going to see on the top of this calculator is the N, the I, the PV, the PMT, and the FV, right? So how do you calculate that return? Well, you plug in the present value of the $40,000 he put in as a down payment. And the future value is the difference between how much was it when he invested his savings and his monthly cash flow and tax benefits. That's the difference between those two numbers. And it's going to be for 360 months. N is the amount of time it's in there. Now, he's not contributing any more, right? He's just putting in that $40,000 investment, right? He has a 7.22% return on that investment. Not a bad day for Bob. Now, let's say Bob now buys a house a year for 10 years. In 10 years, his monthly cash flow is roughly $5,000. Now, you might be saying, well, that's not quite enough for me to leave my job. Well, I'm missing some of my slides here. But so in 30 years, his net worth is roughly, so if you take those 10 properties and they appreciate like the other one did, he's over $6 million in net worth. And his total return on his investment, as Pete Fortunato would say, well, it's good enough, right? Oh man, I hate that these slides are not here. So how does Bob really know what to do? Well, Bill Cook has taught me the valuable lesson of building a T-bar, and he has his current position and his future position. And in his current position, we see that Bob spends all of his time at work. He doesn't have a secure retirement. His family doesn't get to take vacations, and he works paycheck to paycheck. What does Bob want to be? Bob wants to spend his days with his family. He wants a safe retirement. He wants to travel whenever and wherever, and he wants steady income. So how does he go from the left side to the right side? This is how you gain that fuel in your fuel tank to know, are those sacrifices worth it? This helps to drive that decision. So is your dream life worth the sacrifices necessary to succeed? That's for you to decide. So today's meat and material, dream big. Right. I love this Christopher Reeve quote on dreaming big. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible. Then they seem improbable. And then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. That's so powerful. If you don't know who Christopher Reeve is, Superman, might be a quadriplegic. He was handicapped from an accident, but he might be one of those people that could have absolutely allowed his situation to dictate where he was going, but he didn't. That this quote is so powerful. So, what's holding you back from dreaming bigger than what you're currently thinking is dreaming big, right? Are you focused on immediate needs that you haven't thought about your needs in 10 years? Do you stop yourself from having unrealistic dreams because you feel like it's never going to happen? Are you allowing your current situation to define your future? I hope not. So this is a short clip from one of my favorite movies that we watch with our son. It's called the movie's called A Good Dinosaur, but keep in mind that this pet collector right here collects pets and surrounds himself with these pets that either keep him from getting into a situation or motivate him. And you're going to find soon that the pet collector is a funny guy, but he's got some people, some voices on him that don't need to be here. Ask yourself, do you have a voice like this on your shoulders?
That creature protected you. Why?
I don't know. I'm going home. Do you know how far Clawtooth Mountain is?
Good idea. We want him.
Why?
'Cause it's terrifying out here. He can protect me, like my friends. This is Fury. He protects me from the creatures that crawl in the night. This is Destructor. She protects me from mosquitoes. This is Dream Crusher. He protects me from having unrealistic goals. And this is Debbie. Yes, we need him.
So there you go. That's the pet collector, and he keeps that guy on his shoulder from preventing him from keeping and having unrealistic goals. Do you have someone on your shoulder, a voice telling you, "Don't do that. It's not possible." Let me tell you, it's always possible. You could absolutely have big dreams and achieve them. So, what is the benefit? What dreaming big can do for you, it can challenge you to fight for more in life. It can provide clarity on when to take action. It can give you more out of life. And it can uncover hidden dreams or passions you've given up on. So imagine yourself in the shoes of future you. All right. So I'm going to ask everyone to just, take a minute to truly reflect. You're on a dream vacation. Where are you? Who's with you? What are you doing? What sounds do you hear? What do you smell? Are you by the ocean? Do you hear waves crashing? You smell the sea? And how long are you there? So keep thinking about that. I'm going to jump back to that slide so that you can reflect on that just a little bit. All right. So, how do you get there? Well, there's going to be 3 major steps that we discuss. Step 1, where are you currently? What life experiences built you? Are you where you thought you would be 10 years ago? Are you further ahead? Are you farther behind? But are you where you thought you would be? Where do you want your life to go? Right? We're going to take a little journey with a young lady named Rachel. All right. And Rachel is a real estate agent. So we're going to keep this all in mind. Rachel's a real estate agent. We're going to follow her on a journey of dreaming big. So, what are Rachel's current dreams? She dreams of a day that she doesn't have to budget just to grocery shop and can pay for her kids' Christmas without financing it. Should be, that's a lot of people's dreams out there. What is she doing to support that dream? Well, she's clipping coupons and she's shopping with the crowds on Black Friday so that she can make those things come true. And in her future, in order to make this happen without the clipping coupons and shopping with the crowds on Black Friday, she's going to work overtime to make these dreams a reality. She's going to sacrifice a lot of her time and work to exchange for money to support the dreams that she currently has. So, where does that get Rachel? Well, she can pay for groceries and Christmas, but at what expense? She loses time with her family to support them. But what does she really, really want? She wants time and financial freedom to create a magical childhood for her kids where she is actively involved. That's what she really wants. And she's saying to herself, I made it, but I'm not where I want to be. So where did Rachel go wrong? She was focused on a symptom instead of an underlying, deeper issue. So above, the issue that she was noticing is that I have a financial struggle and I need to solve that problem. That's the issue. But what's the real issue? The real issue is that she has a desire to create this ideal childhood for her kids that she just wants them to have. Maybe she didn't have it and she wants it for them, or maybe she did have it and she wants to recreate that. But the problem is often not the problem. I'm going to say that again. Most of the time, the problem is not the problem. And you might be thinking, oh, that's strange. But yeah, the problem is often not the problem. It's the problem's problem. It's the reason for the problem that is the problem. So, what is the deeper dream for your life? If you could have anything, what would it be? What did you dream of as a young adult or child? Why didn't you achieve it? Will your daily actions lead to your dream life? So let's see. What if Rachel dreams a little bit bigger? She looks really excited. I love it. So her dreams. This is now her dreams of dreaming even bigger by finding out what the real problem was, right? So her dreams are that she helps investors find time and financial freedom. That's what she does all the time as a real estate agent, but now she wants it for herself. So what is she doing to do that? Well, she sacrifices her downtime. If you don't remember, the masterclass Lifestyle 101 was all about sacrifices. And she sacrifices her downtime and starts investing in herself. And Mindset 101 was all about that. She's investing in herself. She downgrades her lifestyle just a little bit so that she has that freedom to spend money on educating herself. And all along the way, she's teaching her kids about the journey to financial freedom. Lets them know, hey guys, we may not be able to go on vacations for a couple of years, but I promise that after that, we're going to go on the most luxurious vacations. Being very transparent with her kids and saying, you may not have the nicest clothes at school for the next couple of years. But by doing so, you're going to have the nicest clothes later. She teaches them that lesson of sacrifice now, gain later. And then her future state, this is what the dream becoming true is. She will slowly build passive income and buy back her time. That's powerful right there. Slowly build that passive income to buy back her time. And she will build a future for herself while continuing to help investors and other home buyers achieve their dreams. She had a knack for being an agent. She loves helping people. But she's realizing she needs to help herself as well. So I love Rachel's bigger dreams. They're solving more than just the surface level problem, more than just that top of the glacier problem, or iceberg, not glacier. So what actions do you need to take? Well, you got to create a clear picture of your dream life. You got to build a detailed plan of what you need to do in the next year, quarter, month, and week to keep you on track. And you got to focus on that one thing, nothing else, just one. You got to focus on that one thing you can do each day that will get you closer to your dream life. So you got to ask yourself, are you chasing the right dreams? It's okay to chase dreams. It's great to chase dreams. It challenges you. It gets you to, think more critically in your daily life and all your daily action. But you gotta really step back and evaluate, am I chasing the right dreams? When I climb to the top of that ladder and stand on that building, am I gonna look down and be so upset that I leaned that ladder against the wrong building? That's something you have to decide for yourself. But you don't have to evaluate and create that by yourself. That's what Dream Life University does. We help you to create that roadmap so that when you are standing on top of that building, you can look down and say, I'm so glad I built that ladder on this building and I'm standing where I am with the people I'm standing here with. That's so important. The hyper intentionality of every move you make.